All right, wanted to do an update video on just owning the Range Rover for the last month. Obviously, with getting a Range Rover, I knew I was going to be dealing with mechanical issues on the car, but at the same time, I feel like a lot of my problems have come from the previous owner / owners. Let's preface this a little bit. I have sinus issues and I've had it since I was like in high school. I've had surgery, that didn't fix it, and I feel like as I've gotten older, it's gotten worse. I honestly believe that after COVID, I lost a lot of my sense of smell. Back to the story of when I was getting the car. When I looked at the car first time, met the guy, thought he was a cool guy, seemed trustworthy. That was a mistake. Got in the car, kind of smelled like an air freshener. After I bought the car, that's when my wife and my kids are complaining about how bad the car smells like smoke, specifically marijuana smoke. It is so bad that even now, a month later, it still stinks. I can't smell it. Well, I can smell something that smells like an air freshener, but I can't smell what they're smelling. They all make jokes about it. They call it the weed wagon, and they've told all their friends and their coworkers and family, and now everybody makes fun of me about the weed wagon. It's like, oh, if you gotta go relax, just go sit in their car. Second thing, all the lights, the only light that worked was the dome light. All the other bulbs didn't work. All of the side markers, those bulbs don't work. Fog lights, those bulbs don't work. The rear fog light things, those don't work. It's like a light bulb was never changed in the vehicle. The inside of the car is just really dirty. Like, it needs a good detailing. Next part of this is it took me a little while to get it inspected because of several things that were causing problems. But when I finally was able to take it to the inspection place, it immediately failed because the passenger and driver's side windows were tinted crazy dark. Like I'm trying to do a drive-by or something. The rest of the car was just tinted normal, like from the factory. It failed immediately, had like 7% visibility, and so I asked the dude, I'm like, hey, could I just take the tint off? And he was saying, well, you know, some tints have this adhesive that you can't remove it, and I just peeled it right off. Took the tint off, got it to pass inspection, thought everything's great, we're on our way, right? Well, not right. Because we go to get it registered, we got all the paperwork, sit in the DMV or DPS if you're in Texas, sit in the DMV for like an hour and a half, get to the window, and the lady's like, the guy that owned the car before you, he never put it in his name. You're gonna have to go get something called a bonded title. I don't know what that means. Now I've got to go to some place closer to Dallas. That also means that I've got to find time when I'm not at work and find time when my wife's not at work so we can make a trip to this special place so we can get this special title. And then after we get that, then we got to go back to the DMV so we can finally get this car registered. And now my wife just likes to make fun of me and say that we bought a stolen vehicle. I don't know. The previous owner was a lot shadier than I was expecting. Let's go to the mechanical issues that I still need to address. Still want to swap over the seat cushion. I figure that since I've already replaced some of the lights with LEDs, I would like to at least get bulbs everywhere that they need to be. I'd like to figure out the AC issue as far as, you know, when you turn it on, it's either full blast or it's nothing. It's just full blast or off. I still need to do the hose that goes into the A-pillar from the sunroof. I'm assuming that hasn't been changed, and I do want to just swap that out to prevent any sort of internal flooding for when it starts raining. Let's talk about the stuff that I have done or that I'm happy with. Obviously, I fixed the seats, the mirrors, fixed the brake sensors. Now my brake warnings aren't coming on. Did the instrument cluster, so now none of those lights are showing up. Swapped out the springs. I'm liking the suspension. I understand why these Land Rover owners are so so adamant about their air ride and they'll go to war over it. It is nice. I mean, you know, let's say you hit a bump and it feels more like you're just kind of like floating over it. Where with the springs, you're feeling it. You're feeling the butt. You're just like, you know. I get it. I understand now. But I wasn't willing to pay that amount of money to get it all fixed. I'm trying to do this cheap. So for the suspension, I'm happy with it. What I have not been happy about are all the warnings. One day it says suspension lowered, and then you drive a little while, then something else is like suspension something, normal height only, and then you drive it again and then it says like suspension fault, max speed 30 miles an hour, and that goes off every 10 seconds. So you're like always hearing a ding, and then like, you know, later on, suspension, you're fat, and you're like, oh, that's offensive, and they're like, screw you, snowflake, and you're like, suspension fault, F you. So it's like there were always some sort of dinging noise coming from the car because of the suspension. I think I fixed it. I opened up the cover to the air compressor, and there's apparently 2 plugs. I don't know about the second plug. I just unplugged the big plug. Now I only get the HDC warning, parking brake fault warning, and that's because of the push start I installed, and then suspension fault. And all that is just like 2 dings right when you start the car, and that's it. And it has been wonderful, wonderful that I don't get any other alerts while I'm driving. It's been great. And the biggest part, honestly, is now that I'm not getting suspension issues, air compressor issues, I don't constantly hear this. It was super annoying. You would be like in a parking lot. You would be at a drive-through. You're at a red light, just anywhere, and that thing's just like, and people are looking at you as if you're some douchebag with airbags and you're trying to show off to them, and we're trying to be inconspicuous, not bashing people with airbags. But you've got this compressor that's constantly making this noise, and it's just embarrassing. It truly is embarrassing. So that's gone, and I love it. I'm so happy. What else? Oh, I blacked it out. Looks amazing now. And again, this is a 16-year-old car, but like, I'll catch people staring at the car because it looks awesome now. I mean, I'm not gonna lie and toot my own horn, but it looks good. It does. So that kind of leads me into the next part. Owning the Range Rover, how do I feel about it? I really like the car. I know it's got a ton of problems. I know people call it the weed wagon, but it's a cool car, you know? And like I said, now that it's blacked out, it just looks so awesome. I mean, it's like one of those cars that's in a spy movie and you've got 5 people driving them and they're chasing the good guy or something. It's just a cool, slick looking car. You feel cool driving it, and I think it's strictly just because it's a Range Rover. And then like where you sit and stuff, it feels like a cockpit, like you're a fighter pilot or something. It just kind of wraps around your body, and so it feels like it's fast. All in all, I'm happy with the Range Rover. You know, I really, really do like it, and the more we have it, the more I love it. But it has its things that I've just got to take care of. I knew that I was signing up for that when I bought it. So there's my video on 1 month of ownership, what I think about it. I'll talk to you soon. See ya.